Oh my god, it is assassin! Wait, what? Holy shit, it's assassin! What? Where? I don't even know. I don't know where to put things. I don't know anymore. I don't know anything. I have no idea. We've been trying to figure out every day where everything goes, and honestly, at this point, guys, I feel like I'm blind, and I don't know where anything goes. Everything that I thought was going to the right spot, it just doesn't make sense. I'm so confused. But let's talk about what we got, what it means, and what maybe things are going, because well, every day Arena just slaps me in the face saying, no, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where we're going, start over. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning. Tomorrow we have another one coming out, another teaser, so we got a lot of people in the chat checking out what's coming, so it's very, very fun. So come in the morning to see. Well, here is indeed the new icon. And the reason why we say assassin is, well, it's kind of like assassin dagger. And, well, assassin is another Guild Wars 1 class that we got back in the day. That obviously their main weapon is dagger. 2 daggers to be exact. And that's what they're assassins. The assassin's purpose is to protect the balance in society, taking out justice against those who view themselves above the laws. Assassins are swift melee strikers who are meant to get in and get out, inflicting massive damage quickly within multiple hits. They are masters of the shadows on the blade, allowing them to move quickly to strike. And this really gives credit to the idea from Snap that, of course, we're getting every Guild Wars 1 class in this new specs. We already have Ritualist, we already got ourselves a Paragon, Assassin, of course, being the next one, and who knows, maybe Dervish. And the Monk? We'll talk about that later. And honestly, the Thief specs that we had are not really assassins. We have Deadeye, of course, we had Spectre, which is kind of like this dark magician, and Daredevil. Daredevil being the closest thing, but it's more of a martial artist, not really a stealthy assassin, a killer. So it's a type of fantasy that Thief just doesn't have right now. A spec that uses stealth to do most of the damage, and of course, a lot of mobility. It's funny because Guild Wars 2 always has some very interesting concepts, but they never go for the basics. They never go for the paladin. They never go for just an assassin. They just go for some weird stuff. Very creative, but no, not what you would usually expect from a class. Also, I just realized I was still streaming on YouTube. If you are there, guys, you know who you are. Oh no. Regardless, this is most likely Thief. It makes the most amount of sense. It's an assassin, it's dagger, it just, it just fits, it's easy. That being said, this comes with some consequences for the rest of the roster that we have on the, assigned to each of the specs. If this is Thief, then this means that this isn't Thief, which means that this could go to Elementalist, as is the most likely thing. Thing. Of course, Mesmer being Bard, Necromancer being the Ritualist, this being the Revenant, of course, as well. I think is the most likely thing. It could be Ranger, but whatever. And this for Elementalist could just be a card for each element, and you shoot them and they explode with the element of your choosing. It definitely would make sense. You have... Now, there's a problem with that, actually. That means also that we don't have a space for Dervish. And assuming this theory is correct and we're getting every Guild Wars 1 thing, this means that we need Dervish. Dervish being a servant of the god as holy warriors that use a Dervish scythe to lash out quickly at multiple opponents. They have spells of self-protection and invocations that empower attacks with elemental fury. Now, this would make sense for elementalists. They're using elemental fury, right? So this would have to go somewhere else. It could go here, for example. But also, Garden could be a Dervish too. I mean, realistically, Holy could be a Dervish completely, it's fine, right? It has holy power, so it would make a lot of sense for Dervish to be here. Also, Dervish could be Revenant, as indeed, Dervishes use the power of the gods, the human gods. And in a lot of ways, that doesn't really work in Guild Wars 2 because we have a lot of races, and not everyone is human, so how would a Char use the power of the gods? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But if it's a Revenant, well, guess what? It's fine because you're using the legend, a legend of a human that uses his powers. It make a lot of sense too. And then I guess this could be an armored Ranger, for example. The beast could be armored, and this is the armor of the beast. It definitely would work. But there's a new theory that I find very interesting, where the Elementalist... No, sorry. This thing, the Gambler spec, actually is Guardian. And why do I say that? I said it because of the evidence of the Oracle spec. This post really does a good job. You can go read it, of course, but it says, I made a post earlier speculating that the card spec is Oracle. I found new information on Guild Wars 1 wiki referring to Wenozu, Oracle of the Mists, and its students. They're heavily tied to the Celestials and Path of Ascension. What the Celestials have all over their body? Stars. Additionally, the in-game collection for Soros Lost, which involves finding all of Waiting Soros Oracle cards. Some of the Oracle cards also have an identical star to the ones on the Elite spec icon. Waiting Sorrow is also an Elementalist. All this leads me to believe the new spec is some sort of Astral card Elementalist. I know I wanted, I don't know why I went for the Elementalist. I was for the Guardian thing. I wanted to make an argument for Guardian, but I guess it also makes sense for Elementalist. But it still would make sense for Guardian because, yeah, of course, it's a star. It's an oracle of cards. You have, this could be a symbolization of those cards, but also it could also symbolize the 3 virtues from Guardian, just like Willbender have with this initiative icons. Boom, we have the same thing here. 3 cards, 3 virtues, done. Guardian Oracle. It could also be here, but this will make sense because if you put Guardian, if you put the Oracle here for Guardian, then we can have Dervish for Elementalist and Revenant for this spec, which in my opinion, it could definitely be some sort of Menzies spec where we get a Menzies Herald as Revenant. Very, very cool idea. Now, there's another theory that is interesting, is that we have this, right? The Ritualist Eye. And this is the biggest reason why we think that this eye right here is Ritualist, because it looks very similar. But what if this is not the one? What if the new dagger, and I'm just going to use this for reference, is instead Ritualist, and it's a ritualistic dagger that you use to make sacrifices, and Ritualist in Guild Wars 1 indeed has a lot of those abilities, and that's what is signifying. And this new spec goes here instead. Totally possible. If that's the case, I think this is the most likely possibility right here. Engineer being this weird circle thing with the gravity thing, the silver that we talked about last time. Necromancer having this. Guardian being the Oracle. Dervish being on Elementalist. Reverend having this. He could also be Ranger, but whatever. And then Warrior right here. This would be a very interesting possibility. I also have this other possibility right here. Actually, let's move this around. And instead, we could have Thief, we Assassin, Ranger here, Warrior here. This Revenant being the Dervish that we're gonna get next, probably tomorrow. Elementalist being the Oracle, and then Guardian could be Monk. That's another very, very good possibility. And this one just for fun, when Thief is still the Gambler, and then the Dagger could for some reason be in Ranger. It's the only class that I think could have a sort of assassin in it. I don't know how the pet would work there, and if the pet just follows you around stealthy in the same way, it would be kind of weird, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me. But yeah, those are my possibilities. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas here, a lot of combinations, but I think we're gonna have to wait until the poem comes out, and of course also tomorrow's spec to see how this one's pan out. I think by Friday we're gonna know exactly where things are at. We're gonna have only 2 specs left. That should give us a very good idea on what's left. And on Saturday, I mean, there's going to only be 1 left. So for me, though, I think the most likely possibility is this one. Oh, sorry. There we go. This one right here, with Guardian being the Oracle, Elementalist getting Dervish, Revenant getting the Menzies spec, Warrior here, and Thief as Assassin. I think it's the one that makes the most amount of sense. Because honestly, I don't really see how they would put Monk in the game. Guardian is already kind of a Monk. We already have Willbender. It just, I don't know. I don't really see Monk coming back. It would only be for Guild Wars 1 nostalgia, and that's all nice and all, but like at some point you have to stop, okay? Maybe it's too much, okay? But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your theories are, what has changed between yesterday and today, and like, be excited for tomorrow, because tomorrow we have another one. I'm also gonna make a few videos about the new Guild Wars 2 post. I think there's a lot of interesting implications about the game, regardless of whether you agree with my assessment of the post. I completely agree if you don't think it's a bad thing. I still think what I think, but your comments are very interesting, so I might actually, I don't know, maybe I'll do even a Q&A about it. I don't know. That's actually an interesting concept. I don't know. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. But let me know everything. Subscribe. See you guys tomorrow on stream 2 to check what's coming out tomorrow. I'm super excited. And bye-bye. Bye, 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 bye. Ciao, 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 ciao.